Happy 70th birthday.
Happy 70th birthday, Dad.
Happy 70th birthday, Dad.
Hey, Dad, happy birthday.
We love you so much, and we just wanted to share a few of the things we're thankful for and some memories we have. And who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Well, some of my favorite memories with you, Dad, are definitely when we were out just in the wild, like we were camping, or you took me fishing, or just doing stuff around the property. Or like you would take me when we lived at Greater Drive, you took me to golf lessons, and I still somehow remember that, even though that feels like forever ago. But I just love all the memories of camping or four-wheeling on our property. Like, it's so fun seeing you four-wheel around with the kids now, because I'm like, oh, we used to do that. Like, that's so fun. But I really think that you contributed to my love of nature, and I feel more connected with it because of you and have a love with it. And I connect my love with it to you. And like, yeah, I just love all those memories.
Oh, so you think that's why you want to go into environmental sciences? Is partly because Dad just kind of raised you up in the outdoors?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And like, just Dad's care for nature while we were always there. Like, he was always very gentle. You were always very gentle, Dad. And you really just, I don't know, you share, having those experiences with you made it something special that I want to be able to have experiences like that in the future with my own kids because of you. Yeah.
Aww.
But
That's really cool. Actually, it's I didn't know that you were going to share that. But some of my best memories with Dad are the same exact things, which are, I mean, I remember backpacking trips in Desolation Wilderness, other places. I remember going with the dogs. I remember a time, let's see, we took my dog Shadow, and we took another dog that we had at the time, and I think it was, I want to say Tara or something like that. And we had these dog backpacks on.
Talking about Tasha?
Tasha, that's what it was.
Oh.
Tasha. Wasn't that the dog that ran up to our house at Grider Drive one day? And then
we had
just,
her.
we put up signs, found dog, and nobody claimed her. So we adopted Tasha, and then she ended up being our dog for a long time.
She was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so one time we're backpacking, and I believe it was Desolation Wilderness, and we have this topographical map. And I just remember a few things about that trip. I think we were lost for a little bit, but like we didn't know where we were on the map. And whatever. Dad just keeps us cool. And we just keep going and we figure it out. He's okay, here's the mountain. Let's go look toward that mountain over there. And but anyway, so Tasha's running around with her doggy backpack on, and we get to one of these ponds that's completely covered in that green, like, it looks like grass practically, or short grass. Tasha goes running and goes right into the thing, into the total surprise about its cold water. So that was a fun trip. I remember Dad taking me camping or I remember Dad joining me with I think it was Royal Rangers, and which is a Christian group that's similar to a Boy Scouts, and Dad coming on those trips. And I remember filtering our water. And here's a memory. One time we're on one of these trips, and the leaders of the trip decided to take it upon themselves to decide who could use which water filters, like which water filters were good enough to use and which weren't. And they said that the one that Dad and I brought, wasn't good enough. And Dad just like grumbles about it, and we keep using it anyway. And maybe that's where I get a little bit of a rebellious spirit from. One of the things I remember about that is, you know, we're joining with this Christian group, and it was a group where a lot of the guys, the dads and the male leaders in this group, some of them had tempers. Some of them were just like really harsh, like you got to follow the rules, and just authoritarian and that kind of thing. Dad was always just so relaxed, as far as I mean, my memory, right? And, you know, if I had doubts about something, doubts are fine. That's okay. You know, if I messed up, he wasn't mad at me for messing up. And there was always just this bond and this trust there, where he knew if I messed up, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody, right? I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to him. And that was always just so cool about that. And I really appreciate it when I'd see other dads lose their temper. And I'm like, I never saw my dad lose his temper, right? And just how thankful I was to have somebody like that. And you know, just one other thing was just how expressive Dad was, how open he was to sharing how he felt, sharing that he cared about us. And you know, I've been around dads, or I've met other guys who always felt like they had to work for their dad's approval. Dad never made us work for it. He just loved us. And then now throughout our adulthood, he's just a support, a love, you know, someone who's always there for us. I love that you shared some memories about camping and fishing. And my memories of fishing, I had some great memories fishing with Dad at Folsom Lake, especially. But we never caught anything. Like, what? How is this possible? We never caught anything. And then thankfully, you know, Dad knows how to fish. He's catching stuff now.
Well, I remember Dad took, I think we were on our way back from Slide Park, and we took the long way home that goes like through Georgetown, and we stopped in some like crazy reservoir or like canyon. It was like we were on these rocks, these big boulders, and like I feel like that was one of the first times I remember catching a fish with him, and like it was just awesome. Like the excitement when it happens is so amazing.
That's cool.
Very cool.
That. I can't remember catching a fish or even fishing since like camping at family camp at Donner Lake back in the day, long time ago.
Those were fun.
I mean, I remember fishing at, you know, old stuff like that. I don't think I ever caught a fish either, so there's nothing to remember as far as that's concerned.
Yeah. I don't think I ever personally caught a fish. I just probably was there with someone who caught a fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
similar note to Dan's experiences with Royal Rangers, I can echo a lot of those same sentiments in regards to, well, Boy Scouts itself. Dad, when you were, you were a big help in particular, generally speaking, you were exactly as Dan described. There's a lot of like real hardcore authoritarian, old school, gotta be macho man types at Boy Scouts, and you really weren't like that, and it was much appreciated. And that in particular, as far as like some specific stuff, I think of like how much you helped me out in getting my Eagle Scout rank, especially my Eagle project. That was basically a two-man job the majority of the time, you and me, and I would not have been able to get that done without you. So, thanks a lot for that.
I'll just share, pretty much reiterate a lot of things that you guys have already said, but I think maybe, I'm just a little bit different, like personality wise in some ways than you guys, and Dad connected to me like, in ways that I needed for him to connect to me. Like one thing that really stands out and I can always think of is him coming down on Mexico mission trips with me in high school. He did 3 years in a row, spring break. And I think, I really appreciated it at the time, but now being older and being, a full-time employee and being a parent and understanding the time commitment and energy and everything involved with doing that and just totally getting out of his comfort zone. But he was willing to each year take a week of vacation, which is, that's precious and in of itself, a week of vacation time, and go down with me. And Dan, I think you were on that first trip when Dad came. Yeah, and then you graduated and I went on a couple more, and he kept going with me down there, and it just made me feel so secure. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what kind of like sparked my love for travel, just because I felt more secure in it. He was with me. I didn't have to worry about, anything. And so I just went down there, got to practice my Spanish, hang out with my friends from church, and just had my dad there. And he was on my team with me, and just got to meet all those amazing different, people that we met down there and got to serve and just kind of hang out with and get to know. And actually recently I came across a bunch of photos from some of those trips, so I'll have to pull them out. But when we would take disposable cameras down, I don't know if Ashley and Mike, if you remember these, it's a little bit more from my generation and Dan's, but I love those things. And you don't know when you're taking the picture, you don't get to see the little, image of what it's going to look like. You just, I don't know if I got that one, but we'll see in a couple weeks when it gets developed.
Crank.
Yeah.
Crank.
Yeah. So I had a bunch of those, and he's just, was so kind to go down there with me. And I'm sure, like I said, it was probably in some ways out of his comfort zone, but he traveled a lot when he was younger too. So that just helped me experience something new, but feel totally secure. And again, just being willing to give a whole week, like now I know how precious that is. Like once you start working full time, it's like your life is gone. And then you have kids, and like Mike and Ashley, you guys were home with mom, you know, and so that was hard for her, I'm sure, in a lot of ways, taking care of the rest of the kids at home. And so it was a sacrifice for everybody, and I just appreciate it. Other things I can think of for Dad, I just have this memory that I don't know, I always think of it, but he made it like no big deal, but I know it was like, you know, something where I messed up and he came and saved me, but he never made me feel bad about it. So what happened is I was driving home from like Orange County in college. I was, you know, visiting people in Orange County, LA, driving home. And, you know, I have a red light on my dashboard. I had a Ford Explorer 1997, you know, my first car. And I'm driving home alone down or back up I-5, and I'm kind of ignoring it. I think it was the battery light. And I'm like, well, I mean, if I just keep driving, it should be fine, right? Like really good logic. And eventually my car just stops driving. And so I pull over. Luckily, I'm like right at an exit, and I have to, so I like pull over and then like take a few essentials out with me. I think I also had just moved out of my dorm for the year. So I had like everything in my car for the summer, and I was like coming back home. And so I had to walk over the overpass to a Chevron station. This was about like at least 3 hours south of this area, like probably 3 hours from Roosevelt, like Firebaugh, I think that place is called. Do you know that one, Dan?
I know I've driven through.
Yeah, so there's like a Chevron across the way. Well, call Dad and he agrees to come, you know, get a trailer and drive down and tow my car all the way home. So we called AAA. They came out, and Dad and AAA got there at like the same time. AAA was able to like tow my car onto the trailer that Dad brought, and we went back home, and it was just like no big deal. He's like, oh, well, while we're down here, let's, you know, there's a truck I want to look at. So I'm just going to like pull over really quick and look at this truck at this dealership. And then that didn't work out. Okay. So we just keep driving home. But he never made me feel bad or like I was a burden or like I'd done something wrong. I mean, he probably just knew what I did. You know, I knew it was stupid and he didn't have to tell me. But he always has that calm demeanor about him, and non-judgmental, always accepting, never made us feel like, oh, I'm disappointed in you. And that, you know, just that unconditional love that, like you guys have said, like not all dads are like that. Maybe we needed it.
Well, I can remember one time, but I deserved it, so.
But what?
I can remember one time he came down on me, but I deserved it, so it's whatever.
Oh, yeah. Well, sometimes, you know, maybe
sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah. I also remember him just spending so much time like with us and being willing to do those big projects. Like he built us the playhouse in the backyard at the Grider house. And
Do you remember the backstory of that?
no.
I had saved up my money to buy a bunch of 2x4s and plywood so that I could build a fort that I designed for the back house or for the backyard. And then and then I never got around to building it. And so Dad actually, it was awesome. He took that stuff because I was like, the wood was sitting out there in the rain. It wasn't good. And so he took it and he just built it. He just built a playhouse and it ended up being a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
crazy.
Huh.
I feel like I really wanted that playhouse to be like a certain way. And then certain younger siblings like would come in and just like make it all messy.
What?
And I would get like ticked off because I'm like, this is like my dream. I want a playhouse.
Well,
I
And
did not realize there was this much, well, like you said, backstory. That playhouse was there from as long as I can remember.
yeah.
So
Yeah, for you guys, you probably just, you always had it there.
it's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a
It was-
really cool design. If I only
It
had
was
execution.
so awesome, regardless of
Yeah,
the
it was awesome. I was so happy Dad built that. And then because there's work involved in building something. It's like you got to put time and effort, and he
Mhm.
painted it to match the house, and then we ended up having a lot of fun. So that was cool. I mean, gosh, Catherine, when you were talking about traveling a little bit with Dad, I started just like rapid fire thinking of all these cool places we went, like Tahoe every year with Grandpa. I just thought about, I have so many memories of going to Grandpa Bill and Grandma Penny's house for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and going to Green Hills for those buffets.
Yeah.
And but I just have memories of going there, and I just remember Dad driving. It's about a 2-hour trip there. And I still, now I kind of wonder, why is it 2 hours? It only takes me an hour and a half.
Yeah, right?
I'm like, what? But
because he drives 55, like, well, if he's towing something. But I remember like he would help move me down to college, in the fall. I know he did it at least I can think of a couple different times, I think, that he did that, because pretty much every year I moved out, moved back in, move out, move in. And one year we were towing your car down there, I think, Dan, down to Santa Barbara. And so we had the trailer, or he brought the trailer down to tow your car back, I think. Maybe it was broken down, the Crown Victoria. And so we went 55 all the way.
Wow.
Down. I mean, talk about patience. Dad has patience. He does.
That's true.
And
that's true.
Another big thing is the gas mileage. So I think that was a big factor. He wanted to keep it at 55. That's your optimal gas mileage, 55 all the way.
That's a good point.
Which brings up how,
and if there is an accident, nobody's going to get hurt.
Very true. Yeah.
You're only going 55. What could happen?
Yeah, nothing can happen. So. But we got that frugalness, or whatever the word would be.
Yeah. Frugality.
I think all of us are pretty frugal.
Yeah.
I've changed, but it's good. It's all good.
You're still, I mean, don't you think? I mean, there's certain things. You're not just going off, shopping or something.
Well, yeah, we'll save that conversation for later.
Okay.
But
it's
definitely ingrained.
Yeah.
Well, I remembered when you were talking about traveling and stuff, I remembered that Dad and I don't know, for some reason we were driving back from, I think it was Palm Springs, or maybe it was from visiting one of you guys in college in SoCal, and we decided to take the long way that like goes through the mountains. And
95. That's probably from Palm Springs.
Okay.
That was the trip from Palm Springs, and we were in the blue ghetto van that had curtains, like literal curtains that you could pull across the windows.
I think That was before Ashley's time. Mike was
Yeah.
like 2 when we had
Oh,
that.
really?
I have vague memories of that. Yeah, that van.
Well, the time I'm thinking of, it was just Dad and I. And
Oh,
we actually stopped at this very specific burger place in Bridgeport. And I still think of that place to this day. And I think that's the only time I will eat beef again if we ever go back there. I just love that memory.
The only time you'll eat beef. Now I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get you.
Yeah.
To eat some beef.
Well, I'm
next
thinking
time we
Dad
go
and I
back,
need to
they
go on a
might have-
road trip.
Ash, next time we go there, they might have Beyond Burgers now.
Well, I have to have the beef. Like, I have to
Oh.
have whatever
Gotta be
I had
authentic.
before.
It was that good.
Yeah.
what's it
And-
called?
I have no idea, but I just know it's in Bridgeport, and like you drive in, it's the burger place. That's like one of the only things there. And I think Dad and I
Awesome.
went back one more time. So we must have done this drive a couple times, but yeah, we've talked about it a few times, and I know how much we both love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He
Was
likes
this
to
the same
take the
place?
long way.
Hmm.
Was this by any chance the same place where like I was really young and we stopped at a burger place on the way back from grandma's, and I guess I went up and complimented the chef or something because I thought the burger was really good. This was like, I want to say 5 or 6 year old me. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I don't know, or maybe there were just a number of good burger places on the way.
Hmm.
On the subject of like traveling with Dad, the main one I think of is that trip we went on. I was what, 7th or 8th grade at the time, to Spokane, Washington, and I don't know, for whatever reason, the thing that's sticking out the most to me right now is on the way back, I believe we stopped at Crater Lake. And Ash, I think you've been to Crater Lake more recently, but
Yeah.
it was just a really nice, beautiful place. And like, doesn't it have, like, the lake itself has an island with an even smaller like hill in it or something like that on it?
Yeah, I think it's called Wizard Island. It's a really neat place, and I know
It
I
is.
remember you guys going on that trip, and that's one of the reasons I really wanted to go and see it.
No.
Remember
Yeah.
when Dad and Mom rented a minivan so we could all drive together to Kim and Travis's wedding in Bend?
Yeah.
I do.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And I think we had a little DVD player. Lion King? I feel like maybe we watched the
Really?
Lion
I
King.
think what's playing.
Yeah.
Cool. That's really
Another
cool.
trip that you guys reminded me of was Dad took me on my 5th grade camp, and that was to San Francisco. And I remember I was like pretty stressed about it just because little me I'm always stressed. And I just remember Dad was always just like calm, completely calm. Like, we got evacuated because of the tsunamis in Japan, and he just got us in the car. He took us away. I think once we were across the bridge, he actually he stopped and we all got to like look at the ocean one more time or something like that. Or maybe that was before, but I just remember Dad was always very calm. And like Catherine mentioned, he was always fine taking the long route to see something beautiful and like take the time to appreciate something like that. And I just really love that. I think I've taken that in my adult life a little bit. I love that.
Awesome. Okay, so you brought up a memory for me when I think I was about 7-ish, not sure on the age, but I think it was 1995, which I would be 7. We had major flooding in Roseville, and Dad, Dan and I think we're still going to St. John's Episcopal School in Roseville. Dad came in the Dodge Ram, the big, black Dodge Ram. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I remember it.
And Ashley, but I know Dan would, and picked us up. And you'd think like anyone would just be like, okay, you go home, right? But Dad just cares about people. And he went driving around Roseville, or could have been, just these areas around here, checking on his mental health clients from the county. So because he worked for the county as a social worker, he's like going and he knows where they live. I don't know if he must have been there before, checking on them, being like, you safe? All right, okay, keep on going, check on the next one. And then, the water's rising.
Yeah.
And eventually we got home, but I thought it was just, he cared about people and his work. And you can see to this day how much he cares about all of his clients. He's always also so connected with young people. It's kind of a little bit of a joke, but also he just really does connect with kids, youth, teenagers, 20 somethings really well. And it's always been nice. Like he and Mom have always had open door policy. All our friends have always been welcome 100% of the time. Like anybody that we felt, would be left out on a holiday or just anytime, it's a safe place to be. And they're just always so welcoming. So that's another, awesome memory that I have of him, is just being so welcoming and always being able to like talk to that friend, talk to that person and have some sort of like connection with them, even not just meeting them like the first time, so.
Going off.
You like John Denver too?
Going off of that, like Dad and Mom, but they've just always been so accepting of people. Like growing up, like Elise, I know, like really felt like accepted by Dad, and she didn't have a dad. And I think that like that really was like just a really awesome, powerful thing to like have like a dad that is so welcoming like that. And I actually remember like he one time paid for her yearbook and at school, because like Elise and I were tied at the hip or attached at the hip, whatever you say.
Yeah, for sure.
And my teacher was like, you guys have the same dad? Like what's going on? And I was like, oh no, we're just basically sisters. Like she was part of the family because our family was so welcoming. Dad was so welcoming.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm reflecting on is, as you're all mentioning these things, is Dad's probably biggest love language is that quality time. And the fact that he would spend so much quality time with all of us shows he was expressing his love in the best way he knew how, and that's awesome.
If I can add on to that, because I totally agree with that, and acts of service, I think, is his other big love language. And for me, both of those are big ones for me too. So I think I can really understand it and accept love that way. So when he, you know, picked me up on the side of Interstate 5, like that's a huge expression of love to me. And that's how he expressed his love. And so all these little like acts of service, they're big and they're small, but the time put in and the energy is just, I mean, think about it, for all four of us over all these years that he's been raising all of us. And now he has 6 grandkids and he's pouring it out on them. And that's another thing we haven't even started to talk about yet. It's like, I remember when Caleb, you know, the oldest, coolest, he's going to be like the cool one to all the other grandkids, the cousins. When he was born, Dad was like, I'll start playing with the kids when they are old enough to go fishing. And that totally changed. He just fell in love with each one, and just was like, when Florence was 6 months old, he started taking care of her while I was at work. Like on his own, like half a day, until Mom would take the other half of the day. And she wasn't really an easy baby. So just to see that shift, he thought like, oh, I'll wait till they can, like, you know, go fishing with me. But then it turned out like, no, he's all in from the get-go. So it's another expression of his love.
Our kids
Quality time.
love Papa Dave and Grandma.
Oh man.
They always want to go over there.
Yes.
When can we spend the night? You know, when can we go fishing?
Yeah.
Can we call Grandma Kim and Papa Dave and ask when we can come over again?
Yeah.
And they love them.
Same for Ben and Flo. They're like, I'm like, guess what? Papa Dave and Grandma Kim are coming tomorrow. Because they come every other Friday. So it's like, they get so excited. And then when they show up, and we'll like watch for their cars, and they'll just be like so stoked, like run out to the car to greet them. And that's been from when they were tiny. Like we started seeing that expression of like, they just love Papa Dave. They're just like, yeah, they want to be with him. He makes them feel good. That's why, because he just is with them. That's it. There's nothing special. It's just being together and sharing that love. So it's amazing to see that outpouring on the next generation.
What else? I mean, I could just go on and on thinking of all the things that I'm thankful for. I mean, one of the things that comes to mind, I have this memory, again, it's a camping memory. reading a book about warm fuzzies and cold pricklies as a child. And we would just talk about emotions and how things felt. And I didn't understand at the time that was normal to me, but a lot of kids get no discussion of emotions growing up. And now in this, as an adult, what is one of the biggest things that sets someone apart and makes them successful? Emotional intelligence. Being able to feel something, kind of accept and acknowledge that feeling and be okay with it, and then be able to put a word to it and communicate it and talk about it and all that stuff. That is huge. And Dad and Mom both really made that part of just our childhood, something that we grew up with, and has really become, I mean, for me, I know it's set me apart from others and made me kind of successful, especially building some relationships and that kind of thing. So I just feel so thankful for that. There's no shame around it. There's no shame around having emotions. It's totally, it's okay. It's part of being human.
Yeah.
Yep. The social worker in him.
Well, how valuable has that been?
I know.
And we all have, I mean, all of us have done well with the analytical and academic side of things. But for somebody to be able to do well in the academic and also in the emotional is really powerful. And I think, I personally feel like I have Dad to thank for that.
Yeah, I think having one or more people in your life, I mean, hopefully more than one, but I know Dad has always been a rock in this way, is just having that unconditional love. I think that is what gives each of us, some self-confidence to be able to, go out and accomplish things, or just, be ourselves too.
Just Dad has set a standard for love, and like I want to give that love to people, and I want people to like give it back, like Dad set the standard high. Like yeah.
Man, that's such a blessing. Like now you see so many broken families, people that are estranged from their families, and it's so huge that Dad showed us just that character that you're talking about, of loving others and then expecting it back.
Yeah.
I think that's important to set boundaries too.
Well, one of my favorite memories, I guess it's one of my strongest or most powerful memories, is it was honestly going through one of the hardest times of life, which was when our mom and Dad divorced. And I have this memory of just missing Dad so much. And then he took me over to Kaysburg Park in Roseville. And it was dark. And I believe we, climbed up on the play structure, and he just was with me. And I have that memory.
Yeah, he's always been there for us.
Yeah.
And even as an adult, I mean, I'm so thankful that we have that relationship, because that trust and that bond was built young.
Mhm.
And now when I'm never afraid to go to dad. It's like when something hard is happening, he's the first person I want to go to.
Mhm.
Jeez, you guys didn't even make me cry.
I know. Well, since Dan got us on the topic, um, just so many dads are fine, you know, when they have a new family. They're fine just seeing the kids from their previous marriage like every other weekend or less. And dad would never settle for that. He always had us, you know, half the time. I mean, I'm sure there was a transition in there. I was too young to remember all of it, but we started out with the typical 2 days, 2 days, 3 days schedule, and then eventually week on, week off. And I mean, I know from my profession that that just is rare for dads to do that, and to have just commit to having that much time with the, you know, the kids from the previous marriage. So just he committed to that and made it so important, and it allowed all of us to grow up together as siblings too. So of course there's challenges there, but huge amounts of blessings too. And he never wavered in that. It was never like, you know, I don't care about seeing you guys, you know, as much or something like that.
And mom was so awesome through that whole thing too. That was not an easy transition for everybody. But it was awesome. I mean, who puts mayonnaise on their broccoli and butter on their asparagus? And who drinks 2% milk? We gave mom such a hard time about that stuff just because it wasn't what we were used to as little kids, you know, that kind of thing.
Milk is unusual? Since when?
We were used to fat-free.
Oh, okay.
Milk.
I know there's never been a moment that I've thought of you guys as anything other than just like siblings. Like dad and mom did an amazing job with that.
Yeah.
I remember dad taking us to matinee movies at Birdcage and at Harding, which was $1 or maybe $2 at the time to go to a movie.
Yeah.
I remember dad sitting through Fern Gully, which he did not like. Ashley, have you seen Fern Gully?
I don't
environmentalist.
Think so.
It's about like the trees and some of the bad person's cutting down the trees and the fairies in the forest, you know, want to save them.
I don't actually know that. No.
There's like a fruit bat or something like that. And then Care Bears. For whatever reason, I remember dad did not like Care Bears movie, but you and I, Catherine, I just remember us loving it for some reason.
Yeah.
Little kids. And dad sat through that with us. Oh, and he took us to Arachnophobia.
Yeah.
Just when it was in, and then I've always had a fear of spiders. I think I'm better now. But I had a fear of spiders, so.
Yeah, I'm a little bit better with spiders now, but yeah, he had a funny thing about him where he just would like show us scary movies from like a really young age. Like, I think I was pretty young when we saw Arachnophobia. Barely remember it, but you know, that and other scary films, so it's funny.
I've continued the tradition.
Yeah.
I mean, Matrix is appropriate, right? If your kid really likes martial arts.
Yeah, for like 5 hours. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not Fight Club, but that and PG-13. You know, I mean, Avengers. Our kids, my kids love Avengers. Black Panther. It's cool.
Well, yeah, I know Dad showed me Jurassic Park probably a little too early, and Mike probably knows what I'm talking about, but yeah.
I think Mike is still recovering from when I showed you guys Signs.
Yes, I am.
I was babysitting.
You talk about that a lot.
Why? I'm like, what? Dad does it? Why is it different if I do it?
I don't remember Dad showing me any horror movies when I was really young. Apparently, I used to play Quake with him. Well, I say used to play with. It was probably mostly just me watching him play Quake, which was probably not conventionally kid appropriate. But hey, trying to think of anything else. I don't know. That one scene in Pee-wee's Big Adventure with Large Marge really scared me.
Michael, I just have to chime in, and I think at one point Catherine and I showed you the Scream movie when you were a child, when we were at Grider Drive, but you were not scared. But then when we went to go see Monsters Inc., Randall was terrifying.
Randall was terrifying, and
you could not handle that in the movie theater.
Darla, the girl from Finding, she scared me too.
Dory?
No, Dory was Ellen DeGeneres. I'm talking about the kid who accidentally kills fish by shaking the bag.
Oh yeah.
With the braces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dad loved movies, and showed us a few that we shouldn't have seen so young.
Yeah.
You know, that reminds me when you brought up the computer and Quake and stuff. Dad has a creative side too. Like I have really fun memories of building computers. And then Dad had for a little bit he started designing websites when the internet was like pretty new.
Really, yeah.
And I think he had a business called Buy Designs or something like that.
Really?
Something like that. And he was designing websites for a little bit.
Yeah,
cool.
When you brought that up too, Mike, I was thinking about, it gave me all those memories of different computer games that he would get for me and that I could play, and how he was kind of like high tech for that time, like in the 90s, later 90s. He had like one of the first original iMacs. I think you guys still have it in the house.
We do.
And another computer. He was really into Macintosh for quite a while. And I just remember, like, also he has a love for shopping. Like, you wouldn't think it, but he likes shopping. And maybe
getting good deals.
Yeah.
You got to spend money to save money, right? And like the Incredible Universe. I remember.
Oh my gosh. Movie nights, The Incredible Universe, and
they had like that kid play section where you could actually go play like computer games while he shot.
Whoa.
I remember playing there, and that place doesn't exist anymore, but well, I guess it became Fry's.
Yeah.
Talking about that place that's like right by the Best Buy or was right by where the Best Buy is now in Roseville?
I think the Incredible Universe was down. Yeah, toward
over. But Incredible Universe, every night they'd have a different event. They'd have a movie night where you could come, and they'd actually have popcorn and red vines. And throughout the whole store, they'd have all the different video games and computers set up and sound system set up, and they had for a while a big section on laser discs before DVDs took off, and it was wild. You could just go test out all this stuff and get deals and rebates.
Yeah, Dad loves his rebates. Loves
Circuit City, Radio Shack,
Sunday newspaper with all the ads. And I remember one Black Friday when I was in high school. I think I was like a freshman in high school. We went out shopping on Black Friday, and I got a couple pairs of jeans, a couple shirts from JCPenney. And so I don't know, maybe I love shopping for deals too. So I think maybe I got that from him. And Mom, because, you know, she also loves shopping.
Yeah.
But that's pretty fun. Yeah, I feel like every Sunday, like after church, he would have like a store that he wanted to go to get like a certain deal.
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah.
Sunday morning, he would like check. He's like, oh, yep, that, I need that. And it's on sale. And I got the rebate. Let's go. And he had the patience to take the receipt with the rebate, mail it in, wait for his rebate check, file it away. His files.
Well, you know what? With all the other attributes we talked about, Dad, he was very conscientious and still is very conscientious, which is one of those other things that makes him so likable. And I mean, it really is special. You know, I mean, for somebody to have multiple, just that likability is awesome. Life is so much more fun that way. Just making friends and being somebody who's easygoing and friendly, non-judgmental, you know, no temper, just happy.
Yeah.
I've heard that Dad has had anxiety, but I can't remember ever seeing it.
Yeah, I think he didn't show up very much for us. Yeah. That cool front that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, he has that calm demeanor.
Maybe he kept it in, but
yeah.
Or maybe he just worked through it and doesn't, you know, it's not as much of a struggle.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I take after Dad. I mean, just look at my hairline. And yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, he taught us a lot of good character attributes too. I mean, some of them, there's so much that is hereditary, and that plays such a huge role, our genetics, but also just that time spent teaches us what's important too. And so we all got a lot from him.
Dad's the kind of guy who just does the right thing.
Yeah.
Not even like a long thought process.
Yep.
It's like, well, why'd you do that? Well, that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
What else would I do? You know, why'd you go help that person? Well, they needed help. I mean, you know, it's like, of course I did. You know, you really went out of your way. Well, yeah.
Yep, that's who he is.
And he's wholehearted, I think, you know, just believes in the good in other people, which is wonderful. Well, guys, anybody have any other parting thoughts?
I could go on.
Yeah.
For days, but I know, you know, we don't want to make it too long.
No.
I hope we can continue this in person too.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad we're doing this. Also, like, we can save this for posterity too. And yeah, continue the conversation.
Well, I'm just so thankful that we have Dad, that, you know, we have time to spend together. We have more great memories to create together.
Yep.
Dad, we love you so much. So thankful for you. Look forward to celebrating your 70th birthday and many more.
Dad, can't believe you're 70, and we just want to pour out love on you like you've done since the day we were born. We can never repay you, but we got to try. So we just want to show you how much we love you, and you know, we just can't say it enough. We love you. I love you.
Love you, Dad.
I love you, Dad. And I know I keep a piece of you in my heart. And also I steal your jackets and keep that with me most of the time. And I just love you and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday!
Yay!